Hi all, welcome to part 3 module 5 computer networks. So in module 5 we were discussing the supporting protocols for the so-called IP, the core protocol IP. So we already seen that ICMP protocol in detail, but here we will see a new protocol called the ARP protocol, the address resolution protocol. So this could be something new for you, so just listen what is it. So although every machine on the internet has one or more IP address, so IP address, and particularly version 4 we saw in detail what it is, the logical address that is being used, that is being provided by the IANA, that is somewhat globally unique, right? So which is having the network part and host part, hope you remember. So every machine is having IP address, and these addresses are not sufficient for sending packet. Why it is so? So we already seen why this IP is introduced, actually to mask that heterogeneity, right? So the internet is actually made up of a number of networks, right? And one say this one network will be of a particular protocol and is following particular standard and set of protocol, and another network is of different. So like that you have to assume. So this is where the heterogeneity, so we are supposed to handle the heterogeneity. So when there is heterogeneity, for example, if it is a Ethernet and if it is a token ring something, so the addressing scheme, everything used inside this network will be different. So whether it is a LAN or something more than that. So the address that is used inside a typical network, local area network, is what we call as a physical address, right? Physical address. So here also for every machine will be having something called this physical address, right? Physical address. But what is this logical address? Physical address is having this role. Now when you are looking at a communication, so inside this particular network, everybody is able to communicate with everyone else nicely with the help of this physical address. So physical address alone is enough if the network is of homogeneous, a single protocol standard, everything is being used by the network, then you can just go with the physical address concept alone. But that is not the case, right? We have the heterogeneous collection of networks together makes our internet. For example, this machine A might be in need of communication with this particular machine B. So how this connection is, or this particular communication is happening? So on the way there will be many routers, and through these routers the data will be switched from one to another, and finally it will reach the destination, and all those things, you know. Now in this case, so how this differences were masked? So that is by the main concept we are using is by introducing a layer above it, right? So inside a network, so far if you are looking at 802.3 or 802.5, whatever it is, so it is concerned about the physical layer and data link layer only, right? And here also we are looking at the physical layer, which is dealing with the bits, and data link layer, which is dealing with the physical address and other aspects, so the flow control, everything. But we right now we added one layer above it, called the network layer, and this network layer is going to take a particular message from this A, and it will pass it over all the routers, and finally it will be given to this particular. So anyway, the diagram is looking very bad, let me erase it. So hope you get an idea. So I have some difficulty in drawing, that is why it is looking like this. So we have a network here and we have another network here. So this is the network is concerned about the physical layer and data link layer, and data link layer we have the data link layer address called the physical address, and with the help of the physical address we are having communication inside this particular network. And here also all machines can communicate each other inside this particular network by means of, right, so called physical address of this network. And of course, you know, this physical address is what is this physical address? So it can be anything that should be unique within a LAN. So that is the only requirement. So when you look at a homogeneous, in the sense a particular protocol, particular standard is being used by this particular small network, we can call it as homogeneous network. So we just need to identify uniquely one machine from other, right? So anything is fine. So typically if you look at the Ethernet particularly, so that is a dominating data link layer standard, right? We already seen this Ethernet in detail. You can see that Ethernet is using something called a MAC address, or an Ethernet address, which is a 48 bits, right? And those 48 bits is used for identifying each machine inside this particular small network uniquely. And similarly, there could be some similar or a different kind of Ethernet address, different kind of physical address could be used by a different network, small network, right? Okay, yeah, different data link layer. Now the thing is that if someone want to from A, if it is in need of communication with this B, it is fine, it can just make it happen with the help of the physical address alone, right? But the problem arises is when A is trying to have a communication with this machine C. So now in between, this packet has to be given to, so every network will be connected with a main switching element. We call it as the default gateway, right? Default gateway. So by default, whoever want to communicate with the outside world, they are supposed to contact this particular router. So we call it as default gateway. So it is having something more to be done beyond this routing and all. So that is why we given the name gateway. So anyway, for the time being, you can understand it as a router. At least the routing is to be done by this. So similarly, here also some kind of default gateway will be there, or a kind of exit router and entry router. Then there may be more than one also. So for the time being, we can assume a single default gateway. So A will be communicating with this default gateway, and from default gateway it will be given to some other router and to another router. Say a number of such hopping will happen. Finally it will reach here, and from here it will be delivered to this C. Now on the way there could be another typical network also, right? So that we don't know, it may be using the same protocol as the source and destination network, or it could be something different, and we know how to deal with it by mechanism like tunneling, everything we've seen already. And out of them, the most useful technique is like we will introduce a layer above it to deal with the heterogeneity, and that layer is what we call as the network layer. And the communication of this network layer, the protocol being used to the network layer, the core protocol IP, is something known to every router and everyone on the way. So in that way, that IP protocol is popular, and for the last 4 decades it is the dominant kind of protocol. So you don't have to worry much about it. Simply you can depend on the IP protocol, so that will deal with the heterogeneity. So the IP protocol is the network layer or the IP protocol is using something called the logical address. So logical address is something for the global usage, and the physical address is something particular to that particular network. So it is something like in operating system, the concept of the physical address and logical address, the inside the address given for the actual physical RAM, and the address of that entire program when it comes to virtual addressing and all, right? The actual physical memory may be of 2 GB and the program may be of 4 GB size, and for 4 GB to locate each instruction we have the logical address, but actually what we have is a smaller 2 GB network, RAM. Inside that we have the physical. So as something similar to that, some kind of hierarchy is being introduced, right? So first the communication will be happen. So everybody is knowing this logical address, and that is something even we all are aware about. So if I am asking you what is the IP address of your machine, you can simply take its properties and all, and you can tell me what is it. And the IP address is something known to everyone, some 32-bit combination, right? The IP address, 32 bits. And but if you are looking at this Ethernet address, this 48-bit address is something that is not that much popular, in the sense it is something hardwired in the network interface card, using which we are so it's a connecting device, some interface, right? So using which the device is being connected to the network. So every network interface card will be having this 48 bits hardwired in it, and that is the physical address of that that is specific to that particular network. But globally the communication is happening with the help of the logical address. Typically if you are using the IP protocol, of course that is a dominant one. We have the 32-bit IP address, if we particularly for IP, and so this 32 bits for IP version 4. So for the time being we can assume about it. V6 is something, so in a similar way we can handle V6 also. So although every machine on the internet is having maybe one or more IP address, so who is having more IP address? It's like routers and all. They may get more IP address for different interface. Different IP address could be typically given if that is the case, and that device can assume more than one IP address. Otherwise it's a single IP address. So these addresses are not sufficient for sending packet, in the sense below this IP address we have the data link layer network interface card like Ethernet, they can't understand this internet address at all. So what they can understand is the hardware address, that is hardware in it, that is a 48-bit MAC address if it is Ethernet. That only they can understand. So in the existing network we have the concept of both, so it's not possible for us to replace everything with a single address. That is not possible. So the heterogeneity is there, and the hierarchical kind of addressing is also needed. And there is one more level of addressing actually, because so here we are looking at the machines only. Now inside this particular machine, for if you are looking at a particular machine, inside this machine there will be a number of processes running, and to locate each process, right? So if this is a machine, inside this machine there will be a number of processes running, and to locate each process inside a machine, we have another address called port number, right? Port number. Anyway, we will see this in detail when we discuss the sixth module. Port number, the process identification is also there. So like that we have a number of addressing. So together it will make things work in a typical internet. So in Ethernet, every network interface card is manufactured. So when it is manufactured, that time it is coming up with a unique 48-bit Ethernet address. And the story also, we know how this 48-bit number, it is being provided by IEEE, and those things something we already discussed, right? So hope you are clear about the concept of the physical address and logical address. So let me tell you one more thing, that when it comes to physical address, we don't have a requirement like it has to be the MAC address like a 48-bit unique number. Actually this MAC address is something globally unique also, but the requirement is only locally within that particular network it has to be unique. So you can even use a random number generator, and you can generate a number and you can assign it as a MAC, physical address. That is also fine. So that kind of a concept is what is used in the AppleTalk network, the data link layer standard. So that is something different. So like that, something unique is needed. So the Ethernet is something dominating in the network, and they are using the MAC address. So by default we will be referring MAC address. So yeah. So the manufacturers of the Ethernet network interface card request a block of Ethernet address. So typically they will be providing us a block from the IEEE, so to ensure that no two network interface had the same address. So it has to be unique inside a LAN. Inside the same LAN, there should not be any conflict between two machines. So that is a requirement, but globally also it is unique. And this block is like something I think I already discussed in some previous lecture. A block, in the sense, it is something like a 2 port 24 addresses were given. So out of this 48-bit, the 24 bits were out of this 2 port 24, each will be uniquely identified by some 24-bit, and the first 24, so this is about the second half. First half 24 bits is indicating the uniquely locating the manufacturer. So who is the manufacturer of the network interface card? So that particular organization manufacturer will be identified by a 24-bit unique number. So that will be common for all the 2 port 24 blocks, and every particular address inside the block will be actually differentiated with the help of the least significant 24-bit, so that you can uniquely assign. So that is given by IEEE. So the network interface card send and receive frames based on the 48-bit Ethernet address. So that is ultimately happening inside a local area network. So they know nothing about the 32-bit IP address at all. So the IP address 32-bit is something the next layer above them. So they are not much knowing about it. So the question now arises, how do the IP addresses get mapped into the data link layer address? So that is what we are going to see. When it comes to the network layer, data link layer, a particular local area network, they can understand only the 48-bit Ethernet address, but for the communication to happen, we all are having the IP address with us, right? So we just want to know, we want to say communicate with the www.google.com, and this google.com, that will be having a particular server, we are getting the information, and what is the IP address of that particular server from where you are getting the information. That is something some application layer software we have called domain name system, and with the help of that we will get the IP address. But once we get the IP address, how to get the corresponding MAC address? Because within a LAN, to make the communication possible, we need the physical address, that is a MAC address. Only after getting that MAC address, the communication will be happened inside a LAN, particularly say using switches and all. So the switch port, everyone can understand only the Ethernet address, if it is an Ethernet switch, or particularly that physical address. So that is how the things were organized. So to explain it, let us take an example. Say that example is shown in the next slide. We will see. So right now, just go through the things where we assumed a small university with 2/24 networks. So what is the meaning of the /24? Again, you know this. We discussed where, right, in the when we discussed that IP addressing in detail, that time we seen what is this /24 everything. So it's the mask, right? So we will see. I will give a glimpse, but anyway, please recollect what it is and come to this. So there are two networks, small a small university with 2/24 networks are there, and one is for the CS department and is having a prefix something like this. So what does it mean? The entire network is having an address 192.32.65.0, and what is this 24? Out of this 32 bit that makes this particular address, the more significant 24 bits are for identifying the network, and the remaining 32 minus 24 is 8. The least significant 8 bits. So least significant 8 bit is the last octet, right? Least significant 8 bits is for locating a particular host inside the network. So that is the case. So you know, this is a typical network of 254 machines. Why 254? The least significant 8 bits are for locating a machine inside the network, and using 8-bit 256 combinations are possible. Out of them, that all 0 and all 1 are having special meaning. So remaining the 254 unicast addresses are available inside this particular network. Hope it is clear. Similarly, we have another small network for the electrical engineering department with a prefix. So here it is like 65, here it is 63, right? And again /24 means the least significant 8 bits is for the host ID part. So there are 254 machines possible inside that particular electrical engineering network. So the two LANs are further connected by means of an IP router, of course. So each machine on the Ethernet and each interface on the router has a unique Ethernet address. They are labeled from E1 to E6. So E1 to E6 are each are 48-bit Ethernet address. They are labeled like this. We will see. So the machines are given this Ethernet address. Also the router interface are given this Ethernet address. And of course we have the unique IP address inside each machine inside the network CS and E. So it is something like this. This example is what we were trying to explain in the previous case. So this is the first network. See. Yep. Yes, this part, the CS network, right? So the CS network is having the network address. The total network address is 192.32.65.0, and /24 says that out of this 32 bit, the most significant 24 bits for identifying the network and the least significant 8 bit for host. So it is possible to have 254 hosts, and out of them one address is given for this host 1. So host 1 is given an address that is 192.32.65, and this 7 is given for host 1. Similarly, this 5 is given for host 2. Some specific examples. And you know, this router will be having two interface. One interface is connecting to CS network, and another interface is connecting to the electrical engineering department network. So something like this. So in between, commonly we have the router, right? So the router is having two interface, right? And this interface is given an IP address, and that is this, and this interface is given an IP address, and that is shown here. So normally, you know, the router will be getting the least address in the sense, you know, 192.32.65.0. It is a network address. So the host will be given address starting from 1 to 254, like 192. So the different host will be given addresses like 192.32.65.1. Similarly, for the next one it is 2, for the next one it is 3, for the next one it is 4. Like that, for the last one it will be 254, and .255 is for the broadcasting purpose. So that is different. So like that we will be giving the unicast addresses, and out of them the least address is this, and this is normally assumed by the router interface. So that is a convention, but that is not mandatory anyways. And this out of this 5 is given for this, and 7 is given for this. Similarly, for the electrical engineering department network, you can see this is starting with this again 24/24, the first address, that is 63.1, is given for the interface, and for host 3 this dot 3 is given, and host 6.8 is given, something randomly picked. And now we are going to see, so hope this picture is clear, right? So two networks, inside this network we have the Ethernet switch, of course, and this Ethernet switch can understand only the Ethernet address. So Ethernet address, again see, the MAC address or the Ethernet address of host 1 is E1, for host 2 it is E2, host E1, E2, and for this particular network router interface it is E3, and this interface connecting to electrical engineering network, it is E4, and for this host 3 E5 is the Ethernet address, and host 4 E6. So like that some 6 addresses were assumed. Okay, hope this picture is very clear for you. So this E1 to E6 is what this switch can understand, not all of them, inside this E4, E5 and E6. Similarly for this switch it can understand E1, E3 and E2, but it can't understand this IP address at all. So there should be some way of mapping this IP address to this Ethernet address. So that is what we are going to see. So this figure has to be clear for you, then only you can understand the rest of the things. So first we are going to see how the communication is going to happen between host 1 and host 2. So this part is to be explained first, followed by the after discussing this in detail. So now this is somewhat straightforward in the sense both the source, so this is our source and this is a destination, right? So both are in the same network, so you don't have to cross in router at all. So but still, you know, inside what we have is only this IP address. So with the help of this IP address we are supposed to get this E2. So that is the challenge we are having, but still it is an easy thing. But to the next level we will see how the communication is happening from host 1 to host 4. So you can see this dotted line, host 1 through this router and through this switch and host 4. So this we will discuss subsequently. So first we will discuss this part, right? So yes, again let me clear. So the communication is about, so what this host 1 want is, it want to send something to host 2, that's all. But what it is knowing is only the so it even though this is a source IP, the destination IP is this. So before this, you know, normally people don't want to remember the numbers at all, right? So it will be difficult for us to remember the number. So what is the case, like suppose maybe this given in the next slide, something like so in the textbook they assumed a domain name like this, so eagle.cs.university.edu, something like that. So for the under education department for a particular university, so this is how this naming convention is, and we will see this naming convention everything when we discuss something called a domain name system, DNS, right? So that we will see. So for the time being we can assume for this particular machine, that is that host 2, this is the domain name eagle.cs.university.edu. So host 1 knows that I want to have a communication, and the destination of my communication is something like eagle dot cs dot university dot edu, something like this. So it is the host 1 knows only this, I want to communicate something to this. What the host 1 will do, so this is something easy to remember for the user, right? So that is why this domain name is having a significance, whether you will remember 192.32.65.5 or this. Definitely the human brain is in such a way that we can remember the names much easier than the numbers. So that is why so the domain name is having some significance. So something like this will locate this service again at the higher levels, the application level. Now when there is a service called domain name system, and we will see this service, it's an application layer service in the 6th module, how it is working. So for the time being you can understand that given the domain name, so the domain name is what that the user can understand, right? Domain name, so something a human brain can remember easily. We don't have to remember this IP address. Whenever the domain name is given to the domain name system, so this is a service. For the time being you can assume it as an application layer service, and this service will give you back the corresponding IP address from where the service is available for you. So if you want the service, go to this IP address, and you know the IP address is in this example it is 192.32.65. Fine. So up to this is clear. So now host 1 knows it clear that I want to have a communication, and the communication is with a machine having an IP address on 92.32.65.5. That is our host 2, right? Host 2. So now only host 1 understand that the destination is having the IP address this one, and in between we run the domain name system application for getting the IP address. So it is just remembering this domain name only, that is the service is provided. I need a service, host 1 need a service, and it is being provided by the eagle.cs.university.edu, that kind of an URL it is available. So it given this to domain name system, or simply in the URL you are typing this, automatically on the background the DNS service will be running, and it will be returning you to that particular operating system which you are running. This IP address will be given. So now the next question is, once it get the IP address, still the communication is not possible. So at the very higher level, something very easy for the human brain, we have the domain name. Now the DNS system will take care of the conversion from the domain name to IP address part. So domain name to IP address, so this is the IP address mapping will be done by DNS. Now for the actual communication to happen, we have to go to one more level, right? We need the service from someone, and this someone we will see, and he will give you back this E2. What is this E2? E2 is the assumed Ethernet address or the MAC address of host 2. So once you get this E2 only, you can have the actual communication possible with the help of the Ethernet switch, because Ethernet switch can understand only the Ethernet address, the physical layer address, the MAC address, E2. So I given you many names for this E2. What is this? It is a physical address of that particular LAN, or it is also called the MAC address, media access control sublayer of the data link layer. In that way you can call it as the MAC address, or you can call it as the Ethernet address, right? So in any name you can call it, and ultimately it is a 48-bit number that is permanently hardwired in the network interface card. So it's also called a burnt-in address or the hardwired address. So in any name you can call this 48-bit. So we need this 48-bit ultimately. So that is this E2, which is a 48-bit number, to have the actual communication possible. And who will give you that? So that is the ARP protocol, the topic of our discussion, the address resolution protocol. So it has to be very clear for you at this point. From the domain name to the IP address conversion, we are depending the domain name system, DNS, application layer utility, service, of course. And similarly, from the IP address to the MAC address, the 48-bit MAC address conversion, we are depending the network layer service, that is ARP, right? So let me clear the screen. Right. So what we seen is, there is something called a domain name that the human brain can understand easily. This is converted to what called IP address by a service called domain name system, and this domain name system is a application layer, that is the top layer of the hierarchy, application layer service, right? So it is something run in the top level and the application layer. Now to make the communication possible, IP is there as something that is globally unique in the sense, so having a global structuring everything, right? That is something every router can understand, right? Something like that. And when it comes to a particular local area network, the switches, everything can understand only something called a MAC address, right? MAC address, particularly if it is Ethernet, MAC address, or this IP address is otherwise called a logical address in general. So you can call this MAC address to be a physical address, particularly in the context of Ethernet, you can call it as a MAC address. So from this IP address to MAC address conversion, we are depending on a service called ARP, and ARP is a network layer service, right? right? And it is done by a special protocol named ARP protocol, which is a network layer protocol. So just like the ICMP protocol, a supporting protocol that is for error management, everything in the network layer, or the IGMP protocol for the multicasting in the network layer, we have the ARP protocol for the IP address to MAC address conversion that is running in the network layer. So hope it is clear for you till this, right? Let me clear the screen and take the diagram. Yeah, that is it. So now the thing is that you are going to depend on a service called ARP, so that will give you this so what you know so far is the IP address of the destination, and once I have the IP address of the destination, who will give this IP address? The DNS service. Now once I have this IP address of the destination, I need the MAC address of the destination, that is E2, to have the communication. And to get the MAC address of the destination, we are having the protocol called ARP protocol. Now how this ARP is working, that is the second that is a different story. I think we can stop at this point. So when you move on to the next video, I hope you will cover this, and then because it's a continuation, I will be discussing in the next one. So so far I just introduced you from the IP address to MAC address conversion. We are depending on a protocol called ARP, and the working of the ARP. So that is kind of broadcasting is done, and those things we will discuss in the next video. Right? It's just a continuation of this. Yeah. Let's finish here. Thanks for watching.